Do you want to
Me
begin
neither.
from?
I just said that was the
What?
topic.
No, what?
Yeah.
Hold on, what you mean? Wait, no, because you...
No, I
No,
just
that
told
mean-
you that was the topic.
No, that's not.
Yes, it is.
That's...
Yeah.
No, that means
No,
you're supposed to have a
No, I don't have
a
it.
layout.
No, I don't.
You ain't got no checklist.
Dios mío, I hate Omari.
Don't hate me
Yes,
because
I
I'm
do.
beautiful.
You beautiful? Never. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
What was that?
Anyways,
That was
hi.
weird. Hi.
My name is Eddie,
And I'm Omari.
and we are the two voices of the week.
Weird bitch. Yes. Hello. Start natives.
Let the music start. Two voices.
Two voices.
Queer.
Queer.
Candid.
Candid.
Discussing the way of this world and the next.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next. Discussing the ways of this world
Candid.
and the next.
Discussing the way of this world.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next.
Tonight, today, tomorrow,
To now.
to whatever. It could be morning, afternoon, or
Dawn,
evening.
dusk,
I don't know.
Twilight.
Wherever you are and seeing us. So, I think I think it's a good topic that we decided to do this one.
Oh,
What?
I remember now
What?
about closure.
Oh. So you heard that word?
Closure.
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 Closure. So, there was a tweet the other day, I think, or that somebody was asking about, is closure necessary?
Yeah.
Amari gave his
You know
one
what I
thing,
mean?
and
Mhm.
I did my
I had
own
3
thing.
things.
Yeah. But I just won one. And it's part of closure is a choice. That's how I see it. But not only that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is closure necessary?
Yeah.
That
is
was
closure
because that was the
necessary?
word
Mhm.
that got you
Yes.
and made your answer
Mhm.
very specific because
Yes.
you don't feel that it's necessary.
Necessary.
Mhm.
But I do feel that it's necessary for you in the
Mhm.
sense of you, because closure is for oneself.
Yes.
And that's why I feel that it's a choice and it's, again, necessary for oneself.
Mhm.
Most people, when they hear closure, and sometimes I do that, sometimes,
Mhm.
is that when I hear closure, I feel, or most people feel,
Yeah.
that it has to deal with between me and him.
Yeah.
Between me and someone else.
Right.
Where it shouldn't be between that someone else, because we also have to think and to see that sometimes that person might not be here. Either that person perished or that person moved 300 to 1,500 miles away and you're not able to reach out to them. And sometimes that person might have to go through a spiritual journey that he's off the grid or she is off the grid and you're not able to reach out. So
Right.
you need to be able to find closure with yourself. And that's why we decided to talk about closure today.
Yeah. Because so my reason for needing closure, I do think closure is necessary. I feel that closure is, for me, I think if there's an opportunity for me to get closure, it should be sought. Like, I'm going to try to if I can. And I know sometimes that's not always possible. Another thing is, if closure is, I think closure is necessary if you have emotional baggage and you aren't able to leave that emotional baggage where it, belongs in the past. And if you drag it onto your other relationships and it affects your relationships, yeah, you need closure. But that does not mean that all closure needs to be, as you said, like, you talking to this person. Like, all closure does not need to have a interpersonal exchange to be able to have. You can have closure symbolically. There are so many ways to have closure, but I think everybody on the surface, when you hear closure, you think, oh, I have to apologize to this person, or I have to forgive this person to their face.
Yeah.
Kind of like with intimacy, like, we always talk about intimacy and everybody thinks intimacy is just about sex. And it's like, no, it's about a deeper connection. It's about, so it's like, on the surface, people think closure is I have to talk to this person, sit down with them and hear what they have to say and then forgive them. No, you don't. That's one way. But I think there are many different ways to get closure. Shit. We were just talking about Titanic. Rose got closure when she dropped the fucking necklace off of the boat.
True. That's when she
that
got
was her closure.
Yeah.
That was her.
After like 85 something years.
Yeah, she was old as a fucking, you know, but she was like a wrinkle piece of paper,
got her
but
closure.
she still got her closure, you know. And that's the thing. Like I do think closure is necessary.
She had her closure a long time ago. It's just I guess that was a different stage of closure that she had at the end of that movie by her letting go of that necklace.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like closure has multiple levels to it that to an extent you cannot let your closure be determined because of someone else.
Yeah.
Because you are not going to be able to have that someone else. And you have to be able to accept that whatever happened between you and that person, it just is able to be dealt with you. And then the other thing as well is that if you try to do your point, it's like a situation that happened to me where there was this guy that I was meeting and I was talking and everything. And we hit it off very well and whatnot. But there was one weekend that certain things just happened that didn't click well with me.
Right.
And I tried to have the conversation with that person and I tried to bring that situation up 3 different times because there were 3 different scenarios that happened during that weekend that for me felt a little bit weird. And I felt like it was necessary for us to talk because if I'm getting to know you, if I'm getting to have something with you, then I should be able to talk about the things that in some way are kind of uncomfortable for me or that may feel not okay to the point where they might become like a red flag for me. So I have to be able to address it with you and be able to talk to you about it. So in that way, we can move on from that and be able to move forward. But because the person decided not to deal with it and not try to have a conversation, then I felt like it was time for me to cut that shit out.
There's really nothing needed.
There's nothing needed. So I was able to find closure with me to have made the decision that I was able to, that I at least tried and I put the effort to have the conversation 3 different times and be able to get to that point before cutting the cord.
Right.
A few weeks later, or almost a month, I felt like I needed to talk to that person and to kind of give them an understanding of what happened. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I needed to talk to that person. I didn't feel like I needed to explain myself to it.
Right.
Because at the moment when I wanted to, that person didn't want to. And I was okay with that. You know, I was not okay with that. Like I really wasn't. But I was okay with the fact that that person didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that I needed to make a decision to what was beneficial for me.
Yeah.
And so I had to have closure with myself.
Right.
And be able to be like, okay, you know what? I tried. I did what I could and move on.
Yeah.
And that's really what you need to be able to do. That if you're going to make it necessary, if you're going to make it as a need, something that gives you some, I guess, power or some assurance or something like that, or something to you, like if it needs to give you life, then let it be that one thing that you need life, but make sure that it's for you, that is within you, that is about you, not between you and somebody else. Because when you make it between you and somebody else, then you're going to be stuck.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to keep going. You are always going to be in this position here, and you will see this door close, and you will stare at that door close, while by the corner of your eye, you see a light that is calling you and telling you, hey, hello, I'm here. Like, mírame, estoy aquí brillante. And you're not paying attention. So.
Yeah, because just like I was telling you, like I felt like for me, I felt like the red flag was the closure.
Yeah.
Because the red flag kind of made the decision for you, especially after you tried several times. It's like, okay, well, you don't want to talk. I see the red flag. Since you don't want to talk, I can't do anything about the red flag. So now I need to go. I don't need closure. He may need closure, not you, but the guy may need closure because he's just like, well, why did he just stop talking to me out of nowhere?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he might, stumble back in and he'll try to get his closure or whatever, but.
And I think that's why I felt like I needed to talk. Like, I feel like...
Because you felt like you just, like walked away from him?
Yeah. Not that, but I felt like...
Ghosting him? Ooh.
True, in a way. But no, I felt like I needed to talk to have the conversation so in that way he can have his closure.
You trying too hard to help him. No,
you're right.
You trying too hard to help him because I don't think that's your responsibility.
It's not. That's why later on when I'm like actually thinking about it, I'm like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah, it's like I don't have to do this.
Because the other part of it is like, how is that beneficial for me? I already move on.
Yeah.
I already was okay with whatever decision that I made.
And also it's like, if that's what he wants, then he needs to
look for it.
Yeah.
He has to look for it. Like, he has to deal with it if he really wants to. But yet again, closure has to be within you. So that's why I feel like closure is a choice. It's a choice that you have to make for yourself.
Yeah. I think it's a necessary choice. It's like, but the thing is, it's like, it is, because I think sometimes you may need closure and you may not even know you need it. And I think that's why it's necessary, because I think sometimes we can experience things and pack them away for so long and not think about them that we don't realize how those things are affecting us. And that's why I was saying, like, if it's emotional baggage that prevents you from moving forward and it affects your other relationships with yourself, with other people, then yeah, you need closure because you don't even realize that is something that's wrong.
Like that little box that is
little box is way down in there.
That little box that is under another box to another box and another box under the bed. The bed
like
that
a Russian nest egg.
That is down over there. Like, you have to go down 3 flights and like fly or 4 whatever stairs and open the doors and all those doors and all those locks and then go all the way to the end of the room.
There's that one key that's way across the room that I got to go over and get. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, that's when, because I think that's probably one of the biggest things just in life is like, we all experience things. We all have trauma. We all have like secrets and all that stuff. And I think everybody should be able to have that moment in their life where they're able to confront their secrets and confront their trauma and really be able to move forward and not feel uncomfortable talking about it because it's a part of their story. Well, it's the end of her. So it's just, like so we recently talked about power. And I was telling Eddie how I feel like, life is really just about power. Yeah. Life is about power, whether it's relinquishing it, usurping it from someone else, obtaining it, brandishing it or weaponizing it. Like,
power is everything.
It's about power. Like,
it's
everything.
The fuel, in a way.
Yeah, like everything. Everything is about power.
Because not only that, but when you have control of yourself, when you understand yourself, when you respect yourself, when you understand your boundaries, when you are aware of the things that are wrong about you, the toxic traits that you have and things like that, that's when you actually have true power over yourself. To the point where when anybody comes to you and tries to take that power from you, they will not be able to. Yeah. Because you understand yourself and you are firm of yourself. Yeah. To the point where you might say something that person might feel that they are winning. That they might feel that, this is see, I got you. Yes. When that person feel like that, that's when they have actually truly lost, because they actually do not have power over you. Yeah. So you have to be able to understand when to ignore, when to shut up, when to actually respond, and when to be like, oh, you poor soul.
Yeah.
I can't do shit to you.
Yeah. That's why sometimes I think,
it's all about power, and life is power. And true power is within oneself.
Yeah. And just remember, sometimes, shutting the fuck up can be really therapeutic.
Mm-hmm. That's why you always have to that saying where
you have that power to shut the fuck up sometimes. Just shut up.
When you say calladito me veo más bonito. When I'm quiet, I look more beautiful. You know.
So it's funny because we're talking about power and control, and it makes me think about voting, because one thing that really blows my mind, like something that I mentioned earlier, is that like the way in which we as people toy with power on this this plane, this physical plane, and then you have God, who is the most powerful, but then even he relinquished a little bit of power to allow us to have free will, which gives us power. And the free will is really what's running all of this down here, and then it makes you think about like voting. And they say, oh, voting, you have the power when you vote, but then even that power is manipulated, and it's really like control. When you really get at the powers that be, who want you to vote for them, and how they manipulate your choice. They manipulate how you control that power. And it's just life. Like power and control, bitch. Like that is, it really blows my mind. Like it blows my mind. And then like, even getting the closure, all of that is about just control and power. And I think sometimes you don't even realize how much control you have.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like for yourself, like we were talking about like being rejected and stuff like that, and how people get upset about being rejected, or how people are afraid to even approach people because they don't want to be rejected. I was telling Eddie, there used to be this thing called Midnight Madness. And it was like the fair, we have the agricultural fair that comes every year around like November or October time. And Midnight Madness became Midnight Magic because they tried to change the name because so much drama happened at Midnight Madness. But Midnight Madness was popping because it was really like the fair all day. The fair didn't stop until like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was tea. Jacksonville used to be such a fun city. But it was
used to be.
But it was so fun. But the thing is, there were so many instances at Midnight Madness where girls would be walking around and the boys would be with their friends and the girls would be with their friends, and the boy tried to talk to the girl and the girl, kind of shuts him down. And the boys just so unable to accept being rejected, and especially being rejected in an aggressive way, or in a way in which a woman has the power over her body and not letting you have control over her, that now the guys calling her bitches and hoes, saying her pussy stink and all this stuff. And it becomes this whole other kind of frustration, and then somebody fight, somebody get hurt, somebody get shot, because that happened a lot. And it's just crazy, because we were talking about like kids need to be able to accept being told no. Because when you don't allow kids to learn that rejection is part of life, then they feel like anything they want, they're welcome to or entitled to. And that includes people, not just opportunities, but people.
Because in a way, you have to kind of teach people or teach children from the very beginning, and kind of understand that, if this happened, that's fine, or what. But the thing is, it's mainly that you have to reassure your children that life is already difficult. And just because I'm giving you something doesn't mean that you're just gonna take it from somebody else. You have to not make an agreement with yourself that if you do this, then this is going to happen. Because the thing is, whatever goes around your close environment, it's just a protection that you are able to give. But outside of that environment, anything can happen. So you have to give the tools to your children to be able to go outside of that environment and be able to survive that. So you have to kind of kill the curiosity at a younger age.
Because curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to kill it at a younger age. And then you have to tell them, you have to be no. Like if the kid is yelling because he wants some type of a candy, you have to put the power and say, no, you're not going to get it, because that's not how it works. So you have to show those kind of things. And that's the problem with people nowadays, that because they never had that sense of control, or they didn't think that there was somebody more greater than them, then they felt like, oh, they can do whatever.
Right.
You know, they can surpass their power to somebody else. Then in reality, they cannot.
Yeah.
That's why we have to teach consent.
Right.
And the meaning of that. And the thing is, it's actually the meaning of that and how that actually plays. Because, bitch.
Look, girl.
If you actually go to our last episode that's coming out on Monday for our podcast, you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay.
But life is made up of power structures, and life is made up of moments where you're gonna need closure. And I think sometimes people feel like closure is out of their reach, and I think that's why a lot of people don't even want to pursue it, because they don't feel like, because it's almost like one of those things where it's like, it's almost like you're never going to be able to always get closure. That's how people feel. But it's like you really can. You're just not going to get it on the surface way of thinking the way you have to get it.
Because the thing is, people are always thinking in the surface.
And they're thinking of getting it. You're thinking of closure as in getting it from someone else. Yeah,
because they're just to getting things right away from the microwave.
Like as if somebody has to give you closure. Like you see it as like somebody has to give it to you in order for you to have it. When there are many different ways to get closure.
Closure is more of a spiritual and oneself kind of thing.
Yeah.
It does not have to be between you and somebody else.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, when you get to that point, just like I said earlier, you are screwed. You're not able to move on. You are not able to flourish. You are not able to be the tree that you can be in life. You are not able to grow. You will not be able to be the most wonderful flower in the garden, because you are not letting yourself have closure within yourself.
You know what? You know, I just thought about perfect, like
example.
A perfect example of not needing someone to give you closure is being on the internet. Being on the internet and having like a disagreement with somebody on the internet. I said what I said. I said what I needed to say. I made my point. I don't really need to go back and forth with you. This is the end of this, because I said how I felt and it's over. That's my closure, because I don't need to keep going back and forth with you. I don't need to prove to you what I feel, because I'm okay with you having your own opinion. Yeah.
Closure is when you actually say, I said what I said and I'm done, and that's it.
And actually be done.
And actually be done. Yeah. Because when you respond again after you said that, did you really mean that?
You said you was done now.
Did you really mean that? And like, here you are and you continue with the same bullshit. Why? If you said that you were done, if you said that this is it, that you're not going to continue with the conversation,
let it be.
Then why are you continuing with the conversation?
Like God said, let it be.
Just let it be.
Let it be.
Simple as that. And if you're not able to let it be, then bitch, you need to work on yourself.
There was something that happened on the other day on Twitter. And so there's always this discussion about like guys, like gay guys who are mad when you call them bitch and girl.
3 minutes.
Even colloquially, you know, like just playfully. And me and one of my followers who I really like on Instagram, and we talk all the time. And I told him, I said, he was basically saying something about that. Like, I don't get why y'all be so mad about people calling you girl and bitch. Like, it's not that serious. And I was saying, you know, I understand if you don't want to be called something. I get that. But you do understand that when I refer to you as girl or bitch, I don't actually think you're a girl, right? Or a bitch. You know, I understand that you're a man. You know, I don't think that women are less than men, right? You know that I don't think any less of you, right? You know, I respect you still as a man. I don't literally think you're a girl. And I'm not calling you a bitch to be nasty, right? You know, this is all kind of just play, right? And it's like there's so many other layers to that. Like there's really a lot of misogyny and things to that. And it's kind of like the power that we were talking about earlier with like men wanting to be men around men. in the inability to be a man, even though being a man to them, they don't acknowledge it as what it is, but it's toxic masculinity. And because I won't let you be that, you feel like I'm making you less of a man, when really you are doing that to yourself. It's like, girl, you know who you are. It's like, you know who you are. Why the fuck are you worried about what I'm saying? You know who you are, right? I called you a girl, but I'm not like saying it to insult you. I'm just like, girl, whatever, you know, hush. Yeah. Like, I'm not.
The thing is, for me, and this is how I'm gonna end it, is that between me and you, it's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Because I know who I am and I know he knows who he is. Yeah. When another person, another straight guy tells me, I am careful with it. Because sometimes they do not know who they are.
Yeah, it is contextual.
So because if I know that they don't know who they are, that's why I'll be like, hey, bitch, shut up.
Because they try to be cute.
Yes. Because I know that you do not mean it the same way that I say it. Yeah. That's why it's always, we have to be careful whenever we say fag or things like that. Because it's depending on how you are delivering that word.
And on the internet.
Not only that, but also depending on the content. And not only that, but it's like you understanding why you're saying it. But anyways, my name is Eddie.
And I'm Omari.
And we are the two voices of the week.
Start Native.
Our culture unfiltered. Discussing the ways of this world and the next. And do not forget to do your daily, sanely duties by following, subscribing, sharing, liking, and commenting.
Hey.
And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, do not forget to do your beautiful review and your 5-star rating. Okay? And do not forget to go on Monday and listen to a beautiful episode because there's some good tea.